There was a boss that I had there, and his name was John Blackburn. And there are just many men who, in my work life, have had an effect on my life and lead the way. I lead the way they lead, from what I learned from them. And John would come around on payday, and he'd hand you your check, and he'd say, "Thank you for a job well done," as you got your check.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I started that here.
Yeah, I've never done that to me.
Well,
So what does that mean?
well, if I handed you your check, Rich, you'd probably lose it anyway. So we would actually mail
Shots fired back.
Yeah, we would mail your check to you, Rich.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Fixed on Jesus. This is a podcast for Center Church, at Center Church, by Center Church in Gilbert, Arizona. My name is Rich, and I am joined by Mark Johnson Jr. across the table. Mark?
Hey, Rich. How's it going?
Good. Are you going to have Mark Johnson III one day or not?
This is about the third time you've asked me.
And I haven't gotten a good answer.
Well, maybe you just won't. The Lord asks us to be patient.
All right, and behind the glass, we have Heather Corbitt. Heather is back there making mime faces, and we always have a good time in here, even though Mark does really lame.
And Heather lost her microphone privileges, so we gave the mic to someone else.
Why was that? Why did she lose her privileges? Did you take it away?
No, I thought you did.
I did not.
Maybe it was a misunderstanding.
I always like Heather's participation in our podcast. We actually invited someone else here today, and we're going to interview him, and that's Steve Tong.
Morning,
How are you doing,
guys?
Steve?
Yeah, good. Good to be here.
Now, your full name is Stephen.
But yep.
Like it's PH, right?
Yep.
Like the biblical one.
P-H-E-N, right?
And what's your middle name?
Jerome.
Stephen Jerome. Was that after Jerome, like the one who wrote the Vulgate?
No.
Are you sure?
No, that was to keep my grandfather happy.
Your grandfather.
His name was Jerry Ernest Tong.
Okay.
And then my dad was Jerry Ernest Tong Jr., and then I was supposed to be the third.
You were going to be Jerry Ernest Tong the third.
The third. And
Jet 3.
my dad didn't like his name, so
He didn't like Jerry?
they put,
Wait. He did not like his name Jerry?
He didn't like Ernest.
Oh, it's a middle name.
Yeah.
But he liked Jerry.
He liked Jerry, I guess, yeah. And so anyway, to keep him happy, it was Jerome to get the Jerry part in there. So
Okay. You know Jerome, like, because you grew up Catholic.
I grew up Catholic, yeah.
Jerome wrote or translated the Vulgate, so
He
I just
did.
wondered if there was some kind of connection.
No.
Now, did you ever go by Stephen?
Only when my mom.
Was mad.
You can edit the heck out of this.
No.
This is not how this works, Steve. You just
I
talk.
only went by Stephen when I got in trouble by my mom. That's it.
Okay.
It's always
Get
been
over here, Stephen.
That's exactly
Like that?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Jerome. Did you ever get the Stephen Jerome?
Ooh, that's when you're really in trouble.
No. Well, maybe one or two times actually, but yeah, those were bad days when that happened.
Stephen Jerome. Now, were you tempted to go by SJ? Because that would have been like hip.
No. SJ wasn't hip in the 70s, bro.
It wasn't?
No,
Okay.
no, we didn't do that.
All right, but you've always gone by Steve.
Steve, yep.
All right.
Uncle Steve. I like Uncle Steve. He feels like an uncle.
Steve? No, I don't know about that. Tell us where you grew up. Tell us about your family that your dad, your mom, where you grew up, all that stuff, your siblings.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Massachusetts, and actually my wife, Marion, and I were born on the same Air Force base about 6 months apart.
Really?
And my dad was in the Air Force, and her dad was as well.
Where in Massachusetts were you born?
It was on the Cape Cod on Otis Air Force Base. And our folks didn't know each other. And then when Marion and I, our first date, we said, well, where are you born? Where are you born? And we started talking. It was like, how weird, like the same hospital.
Really?
And yeah, a military hospital. And so our folks got together at one point and talked about the old days and
Otis Air Force Base. Huh? Is this still open?
No, it's there, but it's some kind of military training thing now.
Okay, gotcha. And so your dad was Air Force. What did he do in the Air Force?
So he worked on radios on the plane, and then my father-in-law flew the plane. So
Yeah.
so we both started
Was
the same place.
Was your dad Air Force lifer?
No, he was just in for like 4 years, and then went down to U of A.
Oh man,
An engineering
Sorry.
degree. I know.
Can he read?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I just
fans over
sometimes
here.
I have to bring up the awkward things, and so like when you go to the U of A, I'm forced to ask about basic literacy and stuff.
Yeah. So graduated from U of A. It was
what
an
kind of
electrical
degree?
engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was myself, Two sisters. And
Wait. So he moved from Tucson.
Well, we were in Tucson. We moved up to Minneapolis,
Okay.
and that's where I became a Vikings fan.
Okay.
Watching the early Vikings in the 70s. And
The Purple People Eaters, right?
yep,
That was before Randy Moss, right?
that was before.
Checking.
Moss.
That was Fran Tarkington. And
Do you know who the Purple People Eaters are?
That sounds like the name of our denomination.
No, not even close.
No.
Purple People Eaters were their defense.
Yep,
and
their defensive line.
they were famous, and Fran Tarkington was the quarterback, and he was running all over the place and stuff, and so
Alan Page, defensive tackle.
He's
my favorite
in the
guy.
Hall of Fame.
Yep, and he's a judge in Minneapolis.
Is he?
actually. Yep.
Okay. So where did your dad work in Minneapolis?
So he worked for a place called Control Data, and it was an engineering firm. And we were up there about 3 years, and then we moved back to Phoenix, and he worked for a company down there. Within that realm, the chips were just starting for computers, and it was new, and there was a lot going on. So he would move. We'd move about every 4 years,
Okay.
and then
So Massachusetts, Tucson,
Minneapolis, Tempe, Tucson, and then back up here.
Okay.
So I went to high school down in Tucson, Catalina High School,
Oh, nice.
and
Did you really graduate, or did they just sort of like
just barely.
Did you really graduate? Did they just sort of let you go?
knows.
So do you really have a diploma?
I do.
Wow, we're going to get hate mail for that one.
No.
No, listen. All of you who are trying, like, I know there are people out there who think I give Mark too hard of a time.
It goes all the way around.
They're laughing, they're smiling.
Yep.
This is
we're
not,
happy.
I'm not-
No,
like,
this is good.
Now, if
You
he
asked this man if he can
hold
read?
Hold on. I didn't ask him. It was his
My dad.
Oh. Now, secondly, I was also going to say, like, some people are like, oh, would he be hard and like harsh in real life? No. This is a
this is
different
part of the fun.
context. This is
Yeah.
part of the fun. And so, like,
Totally.
I'm not going to
This is
rip
Snarky
people up.
Rich.
Yeah, it is.
That's what
Snarky
Steve
Rich
says.
shows up
Okay.
every once in a while. And
All right, so
we have a good time with it.
so where is your dad from?
He was from New Mexico, actually, Carlsbad, New Mexico. So we'd go and see our grandparents in the summertime. And I remember the first time I went down to the Carlsbad Caverns, and they took us down, and it was
cool,
amazing.
huh? Yeah.
It was amazing.
Turn off the lights.
Yep.
They do that.
Turn off
Yeah.
the lights, and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlsbad
so-
Caverns. Do you know what that is?
No.
That's another assignment. Purple People Eaters, Carlsbad
Yeah.
Caverns.
Google them.
A lot of homework.
Seriously, the
Yep.
caverns are pretty cool, huh?
They're amazing. Yeah.
And you go down. You can go down. You can see all these paths, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of cowboys found it in the day,
Yeah.
and they were down there with lanterns.
And you can see old ladders, like rope ladders and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's
still
cool.
there.
So
When you say that you guys were moving around for your dad's work, was it just you, or you have siblings?
Yeah. So I have a brother, Bill, down in Tucson, and then a sister that lives here in town. Another sister, and then a brother that he's in Georgia. And yeah.
So you're one of five?
one of five.
so you grew up all moving around, right?
Yep. Yep.
And your mom, where's she from?
So she's from Maine, and we have family in Maine. And
Still.
yeah, I have an aunt in Maine, and we'd go see them. I was probably 18, 19 when I started going back there and seeing cousins and my aunt and everything, and live in a small town outside of Portland. It's beautiful in the summertime. And yeah. So family back there. She actually met my dad in New Mexico. She was a nurse and like a traveling nurse kind of thing in the day. Met my dad in New Mexico. They got married and had all of his kids.
5 kids? Where do you fall in that
where are
ranking?
you?
Oh, I'm first.
You're
The
old.
oldest?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What drew them to the Southwest?
I think
Not the
my,
airline company.
No, my
Location.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Mark, don't give away the shop here. Go ahead.
My dad always liked it out here.
Did he?
And yeah. And you grow to love it. Well, you grow to like it, and you love the mountains. And so Arizona's just always been home for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your last name is Tong.
Yeah, it is.
Now, that's.
Oh, here we go.
We are not into racial profiling here on this Fixed on Jesus podcast.
Not much.
I don't know why you're laughing, but so how many times before people met you did they think you were of some Asian descent?
Yeah, all the time. Actually,
What is the name
actually
from?
the first
go ahead.
the
Sorry.
first Sunday that we came, okay, Veronica Litz and Ann Sheps were waiting out front, and they were waiting for the Tong family and waiting for an Asian family to walk up. And we walked up and said, "We're the Tongs," and we kind of got some funny looks. And anyway, we walked in, and that was our first Sunday here, and I can remember the worship, and I can remember the preaching, and I looked at Marion and I said, "We're home."
Yeah, we're skipping ahead right now. We're not. We're not there yet.
So anyway,
we're talking about Tom.
so the name.
Where did it come from?
The name is actually Welsh. It comes from a small town named Tongue, Tongue, and then when my family came over, they shortened it to Tong. So there's a bunch of white Tongs that are around
All
the
over.
United States. Yeah, not a ton of us, but
You're out there.
yeah,
That's good.
So when you
Well, now that we've covered the elephant in the room,
So when you go to the Asian restaurant, you'll probably cut this part, and you say that your name is Tong and you want a table for 6, they look at you like, no, you're not a Tong. Yeah. So anyway.
All right. So you graduate in Tucson
Yep.
at Catalina High School.
Catalina High School. Yeah.
All right. And so what happened? What did Steve do after that?
So then our family moved back up here.
So you moved with them after you graduated high school.
Right.
Okay.
I moved back up here. And I went to ASU for about 3 semesters, and my focus wasn't on studies. So
What was it on, Steve Tong?
It was on things other than studies.
Were you saved at the time?
No, this was before.
important.
This was before Jesus.
Okay.
And liquid labs on Friday nights is what we called those.
okay,
Probably-
gotcha.
Probably nixed that too.
No. Listen, you don't call what we edit. That's one of the rules.
I'm just going with it.
can I back us up just a tad though? You mentioned that you weren't a Christian then. Was there any influence of Christianity in your upbringing?
Yeah. So within the Catholic Church, my folks and my family are very Catholic, and so we go to Mass every Sunday. And the way I say it is, I knew of Jesus then, but I didn't know him, and I know him now. I know him upon the conversion, and so lots of background.
So is Catholic both sides?
No, just my side.
Your dad's side?
Yeah. Well, both sides of my mom and dad's
Your
family,
mom and
yeah.
dad. So your mom and dad both were
Both.
grew up
Right.
Roman Catholic.
Right. And still are. And so my brother and I were altar boys. I mean, they were just great memories.
Did you ever
Lot of
drink
tradition.
the wine?
Yes. we did.
So
Yeah. Not to excess, but yeah.
you did. So you drank the holy
I did.
the holy
yeah.
wine.
That was part of, yeah. That's
Like without the priest knowing? The priest know? Did
No,
he say, hey,
dude.
hey boys, go ahead.
Here he comes.
Here it comes.
No, not inappropriately, bro. But yeah, that was a part of.
That's part of the whole deal.
It was a part that's the focus.
Yeah.
The Eucharist is the focus, and the preached word isn't it's secondary, and so here it's first. We look to God's word first.
Yeah.
And there, like we wouldn't bring our Bibles to church or anything like that. Focus really wasn't on Scripture as much. And so really, even now, as a pastor, I'm learning Scripture more because it wasn't really in my bringing up really as much. So
Was there an age you stopped going to Mass?
probably when I moved out. I still kind of did, but that
So you had some Catholic guilt kind of thing?
yeah, I would still go, but my conversion came after I met Marion.
Oh, wait, before we go there. Okay, so
Those are categories that we
we're
definitely
getting
want to
there.
hear
We're
about.
getting there.
Okay,
Right? You keep
all
wanting to jump ahead.
Well,
And he's like, we got to get this over in 45 minutes.
In the future here, bro. I'm thinking ahead, man.
So you're up
It
here.
all goes together.
You're when your parents moved back up to the valley, and you're here
Yep.
after graduation. You go to ASU for 3 semesters. You
3
decide,
semesters.
college isn't for me.
Yeah.
So what do you do next?
So then I went to work for a place called Litton Industries. It was over in Tempe, and they made night vision goggles
No way.
for the service. Yeah, it was really cool. They kind of would strap on, and so I
The
was.
70s or the early 80s or 70s?
This would have been. It would have been early '80s. Yeah, because I graduated in '81, so maybe mid '80s. I worked for them for probably a couple of years, and cool story there. So there was a boss that I had there, and his name was John Blackburn, and there are just many men who in my work life have had an effect on my life and lead the way. I lead the way they lead, from what I learned from them. And John would come around on payday, and he'd hand you your check, and he'd say, "Thank you for a job well done," as you got your check.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I started that here.
You have never done that to me.
Well,
So what does that mean?
well, if I handed you your check, Rich, you'd probably lose it anyway. So we would actually mail
Shots fired back.
Yeah, we would mail your check to you, Rich. But it was kind of cool because I would go into Trey's office and I'd hand him his check and I would say, thank you for your hard work from a grateful church.
That's excellent.
And
Yeah.
I would do that with Nicole and whoever was here on payday when I did that. And that came from John. So
Still waiting for mine, but
Oh, that's good.
gonna be a while, bro.
So John helped teach you.
John taught me the importance of gratefulness for the employees that you have and recognizing what they do in a small way.
That's excellent.
And that was really cool. Yeah.
At Litton Industries.
Litton Industries, yeah.
But you were there 2 years.
Yeah, a couple of years. And then I had a buddy who worked for Southwest.
now we're talking about the airline.
Southwest Airlines. No, right. Southwest Airlines. And we were talking, and there wasn't really anything going on with Litton. So he said, you should come work at the airport. And so I kind of, this feeds into kind of how I am. But so what I would do is I would go to the airport and I would ask for an application. So back then there were paper applications.
You didn't go on the internet.
And there was no interweb.
No Indeed.com.
No interweb at that time, no.
Gotcha, okay.
And I really wanted to work there. And so the application was like a trifold, so both sides, so like 6 sides. And I would ask for 4 applications, and I would apply for 4 different positions that I wanted, and it was typed out.
Within Southwest.
Mm-hmm. Typed out with a picture. They required a picture
nice.
as well. So I went to one of those photography things.
Wow.
Took a bunch of pictures. Yeah. So every week I would go in over the summer and hand in these 4 applications and ask for 4 more. And
Wow.
I would just keep doing that. And
How many applications do you think you turned in total?
there was over 60
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you did this every week?
every week. Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah.
Until you
Eventually
a
just
job,
got tired
or
of
what?
you.
And finally there was one time when I had my 4 applications in hand and the guy's like, just come on back, we need to talk. And they interviewed me.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And offered me a part-time aircraft cleaner position, really. So I would go in at 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, with 2 other guys. And the planes that come in that stay overnight, they're called terminators. They terminate their flights there. And so we'd clean the planes, the 4 of us, like 10 to 2.
Trash and
Trash, vacuum, bathrooms, the little seat pocket dealios.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
what's the
back-
best thing you found on a plane?
Was there ashtrays there too?
ashtrays that were full.
Yeah.
Because
So people
on
would
the
smoke.
plane. Yeah, right.
And so you'd flip them open and you'd take it and dump it out.
Yeah.
Actually, there was this is interesting. So there was a magazine that I found, and it had like East Coast Thanksgiving dinner thing in it. And I found this recipe for mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes and parsnips and garlic and everything. And I cut it out and I brought it home.
Yeah.
And I made it for Thanksgiving, and everybody really liked it. So every Thanksgiving, I make these mashed potato things.
That's cool.
And we still have that little recipe. Mary
You have
put
the
on a little
cutout
card.
of that
Yeah.
from the magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I still use it.
It's on
And,
papyrus, right?
You're so bad. You just got pushed back 2 years for your job here.
right, so you're
2027, let's go.
we're counting. When you were part-time, were you working at Lytton and doing part-time at Southwest?
I was for a little bit, and then within the airline industry, you had to wait for openings, and then it was very based on your seniority. So as soon as a position opened, you could go into that full-time. And so I did that in the provisioning group, which were the guys that pull up in trucks and put on ice and Cokes and peanuts and drinks and stuff like that.
With the scissor lift that gets up.
They go up, yeah. And so did that, and then I really wanted to work on the ramp. So when a position opened there, I got into that.
For those who don't know the industry, what is working on a ramp?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Is that luggage or people?
So it's baggage handlers. No people. The bags don't talk back. That was.
But you yell at them.
You like that?
Yeah, I saw the people at the ticket counter, and they talk back a lot. Yeah. So the bags didn't. And so now you wave in a flight, and then unload it, and load it, and push it back.
You chuck
out.
those things. You just throw them as hard as you
No,
can.
we place them. We place them in the
I watch sometimes, and I'm like, I didn't put my computer in there.
I remember the first time I walked on the ramp, and it was like, this is so cool. Like I'm touching a plane. Like I hadn't even really flown too many times. And now everybody hops on planes, you don't even think about it. But at the time, it was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I could touch this plane. I talked to the ramp supervisor. Man, I'm touching the plane. He's like, you don't even have to touch it. Just go in there and unload it. And so I came throwing bags out. But, it was outside. Lots of guys. There were a few females out there, but at the time, lots of guys and lots of joking around. And it was lots of fun.
It was kind of like a locker room outside.
It was like a locker room, absolutely. Yeah.
The jokes that we said before they started, like that.
Smart.
Yep.
So then,
sorry, my job's just to make you laugh.
Heather's just like, no.
so you're when did you meet Marion in this? Were you working at Southwest?
Yeah, so I was working at Southwest.
So are you on the ramp at this point when you meet her?
And now I'm a ramp supervisor. So
oh wow! So you worked yourself up.
I did.
How long did it take from being ramper to ramp supervisor?
It was probably, I started in '83, and then about 3 years later, I was a ramp supervisor.
Okay.
And I saw guys being supervisors, and I thought it'd be really cool to run things.
Yeah.
And so they would run zones, and you'd have about 10 people under you and stuff. And so, I saw that, and I thought, I want to do that. And so you put in and you bid it and interview for it, and then I got the job. And so, again, being seniority-wise, I was one of 5 supervisors, but I was the lowest one in seniority, so I worked the late nights. And it'd be like a 3:30 to midnight kind of thing. And, I enjoyed it. And then there was a weekend. I had a buddy up in Flagstaff, and he said, hey, man, you should come up for the weekend. And so I did. And we would, there'd be more liquid labs up there. Yeah, like I said, you're going to be cutting, bro. And so before Jesus still.
Was
before
this
Jesus.
like lots of banquet beer kind of thing?
Whatever was cheapest.
like Natty Ice or something? Or what do you like, Busch Light?
There weren't IPAs back then, that's for sure.
So this is like natural light,
Budweiser and Coors, and you didn't
Bud.
Miller. Yeah, you didn't have any of the
No
IPAs.
light
either. No what?
No, like light beer, all full?
Oh no, there was light beers.
Okay.
Yeah, there were light
Just
beers.
wondering.
Yeah.
but you were imbibing.
Yes, I was. And so the cool thing was, Marion had a friend in Flag as well. She went to NAU and had graduated from there, was down teaching in the Valley. And she had a friend that said, hey, you should come up. And she was going to go up, and then something came up that weekend, and she was like, I can't do that, but I'll come up the next weekend. Well, that next weekend was the one I was up. So it was kind of cool. My friend knew her friend, and so her friends came over, and on Friday night we're all talking, and then in the day, so in the mid-'80s, they had these bars where you could go dance, like dancing club.
I think they still have those bars.
I don't know, dude.
Country dancing you can do.
Do they have dancing
No,
in
this
Boston?
was,
Buffalo
this was
chip.
like
You were saved most recently, Mark. Are there dancing bars?
Yeah.
Only country?
country.
No. There's all kinds.
Like there's still nightclubs, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there's still this, Steve.
This would have been
Again, that
80s.
was before Jesus.
This was before Jesus. And so anyway, we all went out dancing on Saturday night, and then Sunday
You went to church.
we didn't go to church. I knew you were going to say that. So we all decided to go down to Sedona for lunch. So we brought a picnic lunch down, and we all went as a group. And Marion was there, and we started talking, and I thought she was cute and everything, and really enjoyed talking to her. But I thought, she lives in Flag, or I assumed she did. And I was like, I didn't want this long-distance relationship.
Yeah.
So we're driving out of Sedona, and we hit I-17, and she puts on her blinker to go right to go to Phoenix. And I'm right behind her. I'm like, oh, crap, she lives in Phoenix.
You thought she lived in
I
Flag.
thought she lived in Flag, and it was like, oh, no. And so she drives down 17. I started driving down 17. I'm like, and think about it, like, no cell phones.
Right.
Like, if you want
You may never see her again in your life.
absolutely.
You had a pager?
No.
Wait. You're thinking I might not ever see this girl, and I
may
want
not.
to.
Yeah.
You might never see her again.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm sitting there, and I got this notebook, just like, college ruled paper notebook there. And I thought, I'm going to ask for a phone number
Nice.
on I-17.
Yes.
So I wrote PH, like phone, and then like hashtag.
Yeah.
Right?
But it used to be the pound sign, right?
That's a pound sign, right?
I'm glad you said
phone
hashtag.
number. And I pass her in my truck, and I just hold it up in the window.
Nice.
And she looks at it, and then I go up and pass her. And so then I'm waiting, like, I don't know. And then she has something that she writes on, and she passes me and has her phone number on it.
Like on the window.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like writing it down, right?
Wow.
So then I just take off after that. And I'm telling my dad, he's like, why'd you take off? Why didn't you like buy her a Coke over at, Corditt Junction or something like that?
Yeah, right.
Well, I got
Question,
the number.
yeah.
I'm good, So,
Wow,
anyway,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
On the freeway.
That's outstanding. On
the freeway.
On the freeway.
Yep.
You're writing PH. Do you still have that piece of paper?
no, I wish I did, man.
Do you have the one that she?
No, it's all up here.
But she wrote her phone number and
on it and put it in the window.
put it in the window.
so
You're
that
driving
I could get.
and you wrote it down.
And I wrote it down.
You got all the digits?
I got everything. Well, I think back then we might have only had
Seven.
the 7. I don't think.
No area codes?
I think we had one area code for all of Phoenix.
yeah, it was 0602 only.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so she could give you 7 digits, and the assumption would be
Yeah,
the area
there's no
code.
480 or
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah. So, so then I get back to the Valley, and I'm working nights. And so I go back to work. I think I had Friday, Saturdays off. So I go back to work Sunday, and I'm thinking, well, I'll call her, and see if she wants to go out. And so I'm thinking, Wednesday's a good day to call, So
Yeah, you got to wait a few days. That's a mystery.
Seriously, wait a few days. You didn't call when you got home.
yeah.
the one woman in the room just went, oh, no. And that was the deal, because Marion thought I would call like the next day, and I didn't. And it was Tuesday.
Got to play hard to get a little bit.
And then finally, like Wednesday, I call and she's not there, And so I just left a message to the roommate and all. But here's the cool part. So I was working for Southwest. We're in Terminal 1.
Yeah, that doesn't exist
no longer
anymore.
there anymore.
Yeah.
There were phone booths with wooden deal things.
Oh, wow.
Like you go in
Go
and sit
in.
down and the light turns on and you close the door.
Old school.
You put your quarter in and you dial, right? And so I was in between flights and I gave her a call, and of course she wasn't there. And then we,
Now you're out a quarter.
I was out of quarters. That's true. You got to go with a pocket full of quarters, bro. You had to. And so anyway, then I got a hold of her, asked her if I could go out, and we went on a picnic up at McCormick Ranch Park and
Yeah.
sat and talked, and that's when we found out about where we were born and everything. And we talked like all afternoon. And I said, hey, you want to do dinner tonight? And she was like, yeah. And so
You had lunch was
Lunch.
talking
Yep.
into dinner.
Into dinner. And then, like, I was in shorts and stuff. So then I go back, like I drive back to Tempe.
Yeah.
And then go back up to pick her up. And she was in the North Valley. And then we went out to dinner. And then, hey, want to do a movie? And so we watched a movie. And then that was it.
You guys were hooked. So, like, right then you started dating seriously?
So I met her in, I think it was February, March of 86. And then we got engaged in November.
Wow.
And then got married in April of 87.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from meeting her for the first time to marriage is about a year.
A little over a year. Yeah. Yeah.
All from the freeway.
All from the freeway.
That's outstanding.
It was cool.
Do you ever drive up to 17 and like say,
Oh, we
I
do it
think
all
it was
the time.
about right here?
Yeah.
Where is it? Like, where is it about that you put the classic PH pound sign?
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably, maybe 5 minutes outside of Sedona.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, probably right about here. We don't have like a mile marker or anything.
Sure.
But we just know that's kind of a cool, and we'll go up to Flag every once in a while because she does a lot of, or she went to school up there, and so we'll go to the like pizza place where she used to eat and stuff and hang out, and then driving back, it's always like, yep, right about here. It's where Lord did it. That's amazing. Cool.
So she got a degree with it for education.
Education, early childhood education. She's got a dual major.
What was education in what?
And then special ed was the other.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's super smart.
Yeah, she is. She tutors still, right?
Yeah, she tutors kids with dyslexia. So she's a very good student. Very good learner.
Uh-huh.
I've learned that from her.
Yeah.
Because I was just more of a doer, and she's very she loves kids, and that was. She was very sweet. I remember thinking, I want to protect her. Like I want to keep her from the world because I knew that stuff, and it was like I want to protect her. She wanted to have kids, and I did, and I knew she'd be a good mom.
Now, she was working as a teacher.
So she was working as a teacher in the North Valley, and then of course myself at Southwest, and then. We got engaged, and then I moved up to 32nd Street in Shea. Got a little apartment up there.
When you got engaged?
Got engaged to get closer to her. Because I was working nights, she was working days, so we just never saw each other.
Yeah, right.
So I'd pick her up on Friday afternoon from school, and like we'd go out and have dinner and go out and do stuff, and then. By Sunday, it was time for me to go back to work.
Right.
And so we just had that. So
it was just the weekend kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So she lived with her friends up on 32nd Street in Bell. And I was at 32nd Street in Shea. And we just kind of did life that way. I couldn't see her. And we'd talk, but again, cell phones, you didn't have, man.
Same, yeah.
So you're like, go get your lunch. Like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and then call her on the phone for a few minutes and check in. And
yeah.
So,
Excellent.
it was good.
So just to ask, at the time you said you weren't following the Lord. Was Marianne following the Lord at the time?
Yeah. So, and it's interesting. Really, for most of our marriage, she's always kind of been ahead of me in scripture reading and just devotion to the Lord, and then going ahead again. As I started, studying for eldership and stuff, I'm starting to like get doctrine and different things. And there's one point she's like, "You're ahead of me now." Like, good. So that's good.
So when she met you on the 17, was she a Christian?
She was. Yeah.
Did she know you weren't?
Yeah.
So was she missionary dating right now?
Yeah, no. Well, we're both raised Catholic.
Oh, she was raised Catholic too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
we had that background. And then her folks left the Catholic Church, and she went to an Assemblies of God church. And so she was a solid Christian. She thought I was.
Because you talked about God?
Too, yeah, because, devout Christian or devout Catholic and all. And
you had the Christianese down.
And I had that. And, but it became apparent that early on in our marriage that something needed to change.
So you guys get married and you're both not saved, or you're not saved.
I'm not saved. We get married in the Catholic Church. St. Thomas up on 24th Street and Camelback in that area. And
so you guys get married in the Catholic Church with a Catholic wedding.
Yep.
And did you guys do premarital with a priest?
We did. Yeah, it was called Engaged Encounter at the time.
Wow.
And we did that when we got married up there. And then it was apparent there was something needed to change. And I wanted to do the Catholic thing, and she didn't. And yeah, we better watch some of this stuff too.
No. Let's we'll push a pause. We'll pause it right there.
Yes.
We need to hear more of this.
Yes.
This is listen, what the people want.
Yes, that's exactly what they want.
Our legion of fans. Our legion. We have legions of fans. And we have to we're about to hire somebody full time just to handle all the emails we receive.
Yeah.
And so what they want to hear the details.
Yes, and just before we take that break, I just wanted to share a verse that came to mind. It's a memory passage for something I'm working on. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Proverbs 18:22.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to hear how Steve Tong became
Yes.
Christian Steve Tong.
Yes.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you.